to the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast. It's me, Brett Steele, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Jonathan Detroit Haynes.
Yo, 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 it's your favorite podcast host. Back at it. Week one's over. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Now, the Zenful Matt Smith is not here this week. You'll notice at the beginning of the season, my co-hosts are in very popular demand. They have very big obligations. They're very big influences in their community. So we'll be alternating until we get towards the end of the season. Then all three of us will be back together again. But that gives us some opportunity in the upcoming weeks to have on some new guests, some returning old favorite guests. So you'll see that throughout the week as well. And for all you KDFL insiders, you might notice these bad boys, our national nightmare is over. New sunglasses have been procured, and we are looking like $1 million.
That's a big word.
It is a big word. I don't know that I said it completely right. We're looking like $1 million again. And there's another reason why the Zenful Matt did not show his face. And Detroit, speaking of that, yes. Why don't you get started with our week one KDFL results?
Yes, week one. We had the Battle of Florida. Loser leaves town. Yes, it's the Nocatee Zen Masters taking on the Melbourne Mega Powers. There was a lot of hype up with this matchup. A lot of smack being talked. Zen Masters was flying high on all their new draft picks. Said they were going to put them over the top, start moving up that ladder slowly. However, those rookies didn't do jack. Even Malik Neighbors, who I'm huge on, fell below his projection. Wasn't really much to talk about on the Zen Masters. He got a big 0 points from Chase Young that all we heard of all last week. Chase Young looks like a monster. Go to look at his box score. The man scored 0 points, people.
Those right. Zero is about as round as these beautiful baby oranges right here, baby.
Anyways, Mega Powers, they were looking good this week. They had big game out of Jerome Ford, monster game out of Anthony Richardson. Good to see him playing this year. Mega Powers was just too much as the Zen Masters scored, I believe it was like 50 points less than their projections. They lose 239 to 160.
And we now go to the newly anointed king of Florida, myself, for game number 2, which it is the Commission of South Hills Evil Empire hosting the St. Albans Sinners. And new face, new place. Saquon Barkley leads the way for the Evil Empire, tops all scores with 33. Some said he looked slow in the first half. Some said it looked pretty bad. Then he tacks on 3 tutties, and that is all she wrote for that. He leads, like I said, the Evil Empire with 33. A rare defensive leader. This has to be a new high score with a defensive player as your high scorer. Alex Singleton with 24 points for the Sinners. Raheed Shaheed with 24 of his own, catching one of those long bombs from that mediocre bum in New Orleans, Derek Carr. And Mike Evans continues to do what he does. He is ageless. He is timeless with 23 points. But then we flash back to 2021 and Cooper Kupp getting all of that work, all of those targets. They're going to wear him out. But for right now, he's producing with 32. And Kendricks wraps it up for the Evil Empire with 30. And again, for you KDFO insiders in the chat, never in my life have I seen a team claim to have silenced the haters and still lose as the Sinners fall to the Evil Empire, 267 to 278. Way to go, Brett. Way to say the lower score first. Take it away with game number 3, Detroit.
Yes. Next we have the Dumb Barn Best Friends. Hey, a little appearance by Vader once again. Anyways.
It's Vader time.
Our best friends, Roxalana Renegades, traveling over to Cross Vegas Gamblers as the Gamblers, with their new hyped up quarterback that they got in the draft, Bo Nix, which was a shock to most of everybody in the league. He came out slinging. Man, he put up a monster point total of 9 points. That's all right, though. He's got Danny Dimes on his team. You know, he's projected to score 17. He came out with 3 points. Xavier Worthy, he got in the draft, had a great game, 21 points, but it just was not enough as the Renegades just scoring all over the place. Joe Mixon with his new Texans, 27 points. And he had two linebackers, Logan Wilson and TJ Edwards, both with 25 points. As Roxalana beats down his best friend, 247 to 173.
All right, let's go a little bit north of me now to Wake Forest, where it is the Podfather, the OG, Mr. Phil Ruxey's Wake Forest Lumberjacks hosting Detroit's Elk View River Rats. Jaden Reed on Friday night gets things started, continues what was an impressive first season with 33 points of his own. And then the newly coveted rookie quarterback for the River Rats, Mr. Jaden Daniels with 28. He doesn't throw it. It doesn't matter. He runs all over the place. And I believe it was 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. And then a pick once thought to be dead comes back for the River Rats. Mr. Jameson Williams with 24 points. It seems like we talked about last week, the offseason hype. Where is this coming from? Well, it comes to fruition on the first game for the River Rats. Very impressive. Devon Achane picks right up where he left off for the Lumberjacks with 23. And we got a defensive player making the scores with Terrell Dotson, linebacker for the Seahawks with 19. And then what some have called the only piece that the Lumberjacks are willing to trade, Chris Godwin with 22 points rounds out the Lumberjacks score, and they get a much closer than they're comfortable with victory, winning 253 to 244.
Nice. I have a little tidbit about that game if you want to hear it real quick.
Of course, why not? We got all the momentum going. Let's stop it with a Detroit story. Go ahead.
Now we'll come back to it. How's that?
Oh, even more Detroit. Yes, keep it rolling.
All right, next we have the Dogtown Dobermans heading over to Hurricane to take on the Wampus Cats.
Wampus Cats.
Dobermans unfortunately had CMC in their lineup. As we all know, was a very late scratch. Got him a big whopping 0 points, but that's all right. He had a defensive player with 0 points too. That's very uncommon to see 2 guys in your starting lineup with 0 points. However, it didn't matter because Josh Allen, 33 points. Alvin Kamara, back from the dead, 22 points. As they scored 232, the Hurricane Wampus Cats had a big game from A.J. Brown, but that's pretty much it. They didn't even hit the Phil Doza line, and they 198 points. So the Dobermans win 232 to 198.
All right, and it's time for banner night. Our week 1 game of the week. We're in Marmet, where the preseason ranked #1 Kanawha County Kings are coming to spoil the evening's festivities. Lamar Jackson, the newly acquired King, scores 26 and leads all scores for the Kings. But would you believe it? Baker Mayfield, yes, that Baker Mayfield leads all scores for the Midnight Riders with 34, throwing it all over that Commanders defense. Longtime King Joey Bosa gets back in the mix with 20 points of his own. Tyreek Hill, fresh out the cuffs and onto the field with an 80-yard touchdown catch, pours in 27 for the Midnight Riders. Brees Hall, the other part of that Lamar Jackson deal that found themselves in Kanawha County, scores the 3rd most points for the Kings with 18. But it ain't enough because Brandon Aubrey, as sad as this is to say, the Cowboys kicker is absolutely the new favorite child in the kicking community, a community that I follow very closely. Keep your enemies closer. He puts in 21, and the preseason #1 ranked Kings let down the city of Dunbar in their first attempt to overthrow the champion as the Midnight Riders win, and they're celebrating still 264 to 212. And that is it for your very long-winded week 1 KDFL results. All right. Detroit.
That Brandon kicker, by the way, wasn't the best last week. That would be Jake Moody.
Yeah, but he was the best. He's the freaking best. He's the top 3 scorer in the week 1 game of the week.
Okay. All right.
Well, how much did Boswell have? Boswell had to have close to that as well.
I don't know. I just had to throw some love at Jake Moody. Okay. Big guy. Go blue, even though we got crushed this week.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what the tie was. But do your tidbit with your game, or do you want to do it when we talk about the Lumberjacks next game? What do
No,
you
we
want to
can
do?
we can go ahead and talk about that.
Talk
A lot
about
of
it.
people have been talking. I think the commish made it a comment in the chat that the River Rats might have pulled off the heist of the century when they traded Bryce Young to the Lumberjacks because we foresaw that this guy is a bum. There's no, I mean, I guess other people saw that too. So everyone's probably, man, those River Rats made a good trade. We used that pick to get Keon Coleman, which I am really high on. I watched him play a
Yep.
lot this week one. He looked pretty good. However, the little tidbit is originally there was a
Uh-oh.
deal.
Uh-oh.
Bryce Young for Jaden Reed, who ended up scoring 33 points this week and would have gave the River Rats the win.
Only
But
you would have the story that somehow cost you a victory this week.
yes, we decided that we already had Christian Watson for the Packers, which I don't know if that was a smart deal, but we could have had Jaden Reed, but we decided to go ahead and take that draft pick. However, I still like that we got rid of Bryce Young. So I just want to throw that out there. So in pure fashion, everyone says I did
Oh,
well.
pure
That
fashion.
black cloud still is there. But rain might as well
Absolutely.
day.
Tremendous. I thought it was something that you got away with or something that almost happened that would have helped you. No, not in Detroit's world. This could have even been better than what you thought. Okay. Now let's talk about. We're gonna get right into. I've talked about this in the chats. If you're an exclusive KDFL member, you've seen it. But I've talked about it in the chats. New format this year. It's gonna be much shorter shows. Hopefully, we all know I've promised shorter shows, but I get to talking and then just don't stop. But it's going to be a way more KDFL focused. So ideally, we'll go from the week one results. We'll talk about our teams and our experiences a little bit from the week, and then right into the week two predictions. And with the week two predictions, will be a little bit fancy talk as we go through each matchup. So, real quick, those Lions, how we feel about it right now?
Um, I'm feeling good. I really am. They look rusty, but I do blame that on, for some reason, a lot of these teams just don't want to play anybody in
It's brutal.
preseason. It's brutal. As you saw, it took them a
I
while to get
saw it
going.
very much.
But I'm fine with it. I do like a lot of the rookies that they got. Arnold got called for a couple pass interference, but
I saw that.
I think that'll be fine. He'll be fine. But I like it. We're getting DJ Reader back this week. He's a big guy. He plugs in that hole in the middle of that line, defensive line. So I'm really happy with where we're at. So I think we're probably, I mean, we got to be one of the two favorites in the NFC, I would think. Niners, obviously, number one. But
I feel like
yeah,
there's four right now, right? There's four,
yeah,
right? You
Niners,
two, and then the
Lions.
Eagles and Cowboys,
Yeah, Eagles and Cowboys.
because they both
I
look
think
good.
Eagles will be three, but Cowboys will be four.
Not in
But
my
it's
heart,
still
buddy.
really.
Yeah, we joke about it, but I do trust the Cowboys more than most people do this year.
No, I think the Cowboys are still. I didn't predict them to make the playoffs, as we all saw my predictions. But after that week one, they did look good against a very good defense on the
Yes.
road. So that's I didn't like to see that as a Lions fan. So which I
All right.
think we have Cowboys like week 5 or 6 or something like that.
All right.
So
State
what
of
about your?
Atlanta.
I was gonna say, what about
Goodness.
your Falcons?
Boswell, I did look it up. Boswell was the number one kicker. Moody was 2. Boswell was 1. Moody had 26. Boswell had 28. I mean, they beat us with 6 kicks. I mean, it was 18-10. I know the preseason rust. We saw it all over the league. Lowest amount of passing yards. The quarterback play across the board essentially was terrible. If your QB had big fantasy numbers, there's almost no chance it wasn't because they were a mobile quarterback that got in the end zone at least once, maybe twice. So much rust. Here's the thing. They keep saying that Cousins is healthy and he's fine. I need them to stop saying you sound dumb right now when that to me is more alarming. I need you to come out and say he's a little bit more banged up than what we thought. And finally getting him some in-game exposure helps us out. Helps us see that more. This team did not run. They ran one play action all day. You know what TJ Watt gets to do if he doesn't have to worry about play action, if he doesn't have to second guess anything, he can just go full steam. They
Just
ran,
bull rush.
they ran one play out of that wasn't pistol or shotgun because Kirk could do play action because he couldn't do the run, the handoff. I didn't even think about that takes any amount of athleticism or running, but it does, I guess, if you really think about it. They have to drop back like that. Some of his throws were pretty alarming as far as when he had to put zip on the ball and he had to step into one. He couldn't do it. I mean, the running game looked solid. Bijan looked good. Algier is always a favorite of mine. He looked good. I mean, he didn't put up monster stats, but his runs were productive. Got to get the ball to London more. I didn't like all the Ray McLeod love. I don't know what the heck that is. Pitt's got a touchdown, a wide open touchdown, but can't turn the ball over 3 times and expect to win. Here's my problem. But I do have a little betting tip for let me find this here. I do have a little bit of a betting tip for the people. So we always knew going into this, and this will probably get factored in to the bets a little bit. So I don't know that you'll get that much from it. But in the off chance you do, let me if I can find it here. Please tell me I can find it. And I have it.
Personally, I don't condone gambling. Just gotta get.
Oh my God, I hate that so much. Okay. Here's the deal. Falcons had to win this game because of the next two. Next two are at Monday night at Philly. That's tough. 6.5-point dogs. It's probably a loss. Next one, Kansas City at home. That's probably going to be like another 4 or 5, maybe 6-point dog. Probably a loss. So you're looking at 0-3 now because we didn't beat the Steelers. We didn't take care of the Steelers. They're going to have to have flipped to plus money to win the division at that point. 0-3. They're going to have to flip. They haven't already flipped it. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm sure they're close because they were like minus 170 or something like that. I'm sure with the first loss, Saints looking so good, Bucks looking so good that they probably flipped to plus money to win the division. They'll flip even more when these losses happen. Then you have New Orleans, Tampa, Carolina, Seattle, Tampa, Dallas. That sucks. New Orleans, Denver, Chargers, Vikings, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, and Panthers. That end right there. Just do those last 7. Again, Broncos, Chargers, Vikings, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. That's a run that can happen with a healthy quarterback. Right. God willing, is God-forsaken team. But that would be my betting strategy going into it. Wait for this 0-3 to play out and then see what they are after that because that could be pretty favorable.
So let me ask you an NFC South question.
God.
Hopefully you can be unbiased.
Never.
Be fair and balanced here.
Yes.
Excluding the Falcons, who out of week 1 do you believe more into is what we saw in week 1? The Bucks or the Saints?
Bucks. The Bucks.
Okay.
It's not that I do hate the Saints with an ungodly passion, but it's not that. It is the opponent, but the Saints look dominant. The Bucks look dominant too. Not as dominant as the Saints.
Right.
I mean, both were at home. Both were playing apparently terrible defenses, but it is week 1, and we only know everything we know right now in a vacuum.
Right.
Like it's only in that vacuum. What if the Commanders' defense is better than we think, and the Bucks just lit them up? I doubt it.
That's true,
but it's possible. The same thing for the Panthers.
Well,
I mean, what if the Panthers are better?
I know that's true. I know if the other co-host was here, we know who he would say.
But here's the thing. But we did talk about this. We did talk about this when he was at the house for the game. The Saints did this last year a couple times. They had ugly games, a lot of them, but then they would just beat the brakes off somebody. If that defensive matches up, it was the Patriots last year. I think we remembered. They beat the Patriots to death. If that defense matches up against the right offense that whatever scheme wise, doesn't work for that offense, they'll go to town. And Derek Carr, we joke about him. He's not some inept dude back there. Like he can break down a defense and can make plays. And Olave, Shaheed, I mean, they have some weapons. They're just older, and it just feels like a defunct state right now. But it doesn't mean like they're dead to the world. I do trust the Bucks more just because Baker seems to be, on a mission. Mike Evans seems to be ageless, and they did it last year. They did it last year, so I already seen.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, I already hear it right now. The Saints were coming on at the end of last year, and they beat the Bucks.
Yeah,
they beat the Bucks in Week 17 of last year, and then they beat the brakes off the Falcons in 18.
Baker has been playing a lot better. He's been really good. But anyways,
he got screwed by playing through. It's like the advocate for not playing through an injury. He played through that injury in Cleveland, and everybody said, "Well, this is the new Baker now," and it's just not. I think he's playing a little bit above
Well,
his
I think
above his
he's got
rim right
some
now. I
really
don't know
good
how you
wide
say it.
receivers, so
Right.
that
And
helps.
I mean, I think he'll come back down to earth a little bit, but I mean, he's not some inept dude. He's got that
Hopefully, when
moxie.
he comes down this, hopefully he comes down this week when he hits to the Motor
Yeah, I'm
City
gonna need
this
you guys to
weekend.
hit them in the mouth, please. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Go into see, we're not used to this quickness of doing this. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta
Let's go to
pull it
box
up.
square. We're pouring it up. We're going to share the
Oh
screen.
crap. Oh, okay.
I love it. I love the behind the scenes that the people are getting of Detroit fumbling through. Let me know when we can see that. If it daggone loads. Okay, let me see what we got up here first. Of course, my computer is programmed to care about me first, so it's going to bring up my game. Let's see. Let's go right here. First up. Now, also, when we break these down, I'm going to ask you a question about somebody from each team because this is the week that every fantasy football show in the world will be doing an overreaction thing. And we used to do it all the time. It used to be the whole show used to be focused on overreactions. What we'll do is just a real quick hit on one player. You tell me, do you think that his performance in week one is the new norm, or do you think this is we're overreacting to either the plus side or the downside? All right. And then
All
we'll do
right.
the picks. Do not
And I
let me
don't know. I
forget.
do not know who he's going to give me either. So, which is going to be
Spoiler
great
alert.
because.
Some of these I don't know who I'm giving you yet. So
Oh,
that's fine.
okay.
So we'll do this as we go. But um yeah. Let's see. Let's get him. There we are. Okay. First up, and make sure I give the Zen Masters picks. His picks are in. So we have to make sure that we give those. And let me something as well. I have to do something. Okay, first off, let you go and talk about the Evil Empire and the Gamblers. Evil Empire 1-0, Gamblers at 0-1. You talked about Bo Nix a little bit in the opening. He looked, like a rookie looks at times. A little bit of mobility. He seemed to play a little bit of hero ball, making throws that he had no business making. But let's start with the visitor side, and let's start with the Evil Empire. A great week last week. I believe, yeah, top scorer of the week. Either him, the Sinners, or he's on the Sinners because he beat them. It was either him or the Midnight Riders were the top scorers of the week. But top three scorer at minimum. But the one glaring part, it feels like Travis Kelce looked quite slow and quite out of sorts. Now, on the flip side of that, Andrews did as well, but I know for a fact that Andrews was bracketed pretty much the entire game on the Baltimore side. That's what
Yeah.
allowed Isaiah. Like, I don't know that for Kelce. Obviously, I'm assuming he was some type of focal point for the defense. But Kelce did not look good. Let's see what.
That's because he's been following his girlfriend all over the world.
Yeah, we're
Anyways,
talking about 3 catches for 34 yards on 4 targets, 6.4 points. He did not look good at all. So let me ask you this. Do you think Kelce, is this the new norm? Or are we seeing the beginning of
no,
the end?
I do think he's starting to, he's obviously he's a year older. I hate when people say that.
I hate when people are
He
shocked
is,
by it. It is how
yeah.
time works.
I mean, he's a 34-year-old tight end who's taken a lot of hits. He didn't even reach 1,000 yards last year. I know he only played like 15 games. Only had 5 touchdowns too, by the way. I think that's going to be what you're going to see again this year. About 900 to 1,000 yards, maybe 6 or 7 touchdowns. I
Okay.
don't think you're going to see the Travis Kelce of let's catch, over 100 balls or whatever. I just don't. I don't see it.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I am. I mean, it does have to happen at some point. Now, the main thing here with the Evil Empire is Cooper Cup is now back in the driver's seat. I shared the meme and it did make me laugh. It was like Puka Nakua replaced Cooper Cup's role in 2021 or in 2022, and
yeah,
he's now the dominant one until Cooper Cup came back, and took away the Puka Nakua role. And then it was like kept going back and forth. And now it's like Cooper Cup's back, taking the Puka Nakua role that Puka Nakua took from Cooper Cup. Now in this Rams offense. But I will say this, that doesn't hold up that many targets. That body's not gonna hold up for that. I know it was, you couldn't game plan it
No.
that way. Like he gets hurt in the game, so you're kind of going on the fly. That can't be a thing repeatedly. That many targets and that much work and getting hit. That many people underestimate the energy it takes out of your body to get hit, go down, and get back
Yeah.
up, repeat it, and running and running and running, and trying to stay
Yeah,
focused.
I'm with you. You know, Cooper Cup is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but you're right. He just can't hold up, and you've seen that the last couple of years. He gets banged up a lot. So, and Stafford just likes to lock in on one guy. So he's going to get a lot of hits.
Oh yeah. Okay, now on the other side, the gamblers. I'm looking at this. I mean, we got people in the lineup right now that aren't going to play, like Njoku. Xavier Worthy, the rookie, got himself. What did he get? 2 scores, right? They used
Yeah,
in
he got
round,
two
like
touchdowns.
they used him the correct way.
Yeah.
What do we feel about Xavier Worthy the rest of the season? Did the rest of the NFL really let the Kansas City Chiefs just take the fastest guy ever at the combine, know how to use him, and it's just going to be that simple?
I'm kind of torn on this because I don't think he's going to be able to. I mean, he's obviously not going to be able to put up 2 touchdowns a game.
Right.
Um, and Mahomes does like to share the ball with everybody, but he just seems like the perfect guy for that role for that team. So I kind of do think he's going to have a really, really good year.
Top 24 wide receiver.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, that's a huge hit in the rookie draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
I
can
don't know if
definitely
I can
see
go. I
it.
don't know if I can go that far.
I
Or
know.
maybe
I
I'm
mean,
overestimating what the top 2 would be, but that's possible
did they
too.
use him for like a end around?
In the
Like that was
round,
one of his touchdowns. Yeah,
right? But
that's
then
what the
again,
Lions.
I hate that we're
That's
going
what
to
the
say
Lions
this,
like to do with Jameson. So
right? I know we're going to say this like 50 million times this episode, but it's week 1. Now teams are going to be
yeah,
looking for it.
yeah, exactly. But
It's like the check. I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game. That thing, and then they do it. Clue
yep.
number 2. All right, we got our first 2 clues out of the way, Detroit. We only need one more. All right, picks. The evil empire. They're on my brain. The Zenful One has selected the evil empire to get this W. What say you?
Oh yeah, I think the Evil Empire can just look at this week as a bye week. They could probably play their second string.
Yes, I
You
love
don't
that.
you don't
That's
really
funny.
you don't really have much to do. You might better rest some of those guys. Yeah, this is gonna be a destruction. Probably like a 75-point game.
Ironically, in this game, just before, well, I mean, it's Thursday morning, so I guess last night when we were doing prep for this, we see that Andrick Estime, which was what many considered a reach by the Gamblers, goes on the IR. Jaleel McLaughlin elevates. You got to think he's going to get even more touches than what he's getting before. We'll see how much more of a piece he could take. I mean, from the Evil Empires at running back, we'll see if he could take another step because Javonte Williams looked terrible. So we'll see
Yeah,
what happens
yeah.
there. But that's an interesting little tit for tat in this particular matchup. So I am going Evil Empire as well. It's just too much right now. These teams that were quote unquote rebuilding, people build in different ways. They are going to be bad at first. And the idea being that you improve as the season goes on. And we're only in week 2. So that's a consensus on the Evil Empire. Next up, let's look at the Elkview River Rats. Look at those
Woo.
projection boys, but there's stuff that's going to change. Against the Dogtown Dobermans, this is 0-1 versus 1-0. And I'm looking at this, and we'll get into predictions in a second. But first, Elkview River Rats, there's only really one player I want to talk about right now on this team, and that is Jaden Daniels. What is your thoughts? Can he keep this up? Is he going to throw more? Can he stay healthy if he runs like he did week 1?
I watched a lot of this game, and I think his O line let him down a lot. So it's good. I know with any quarterback, it's going to come down to his O line, but I think he's going to be fine. And I'm not just saying that because he's on my team. I really like this kid coming out of college. He's got that thing where he can just tuck it and run, kind of like the Lamar. So
Yeah.
I do want to see him throw the ball more. Uh, but we'll see. I do think he's going to be. I've said it from day one. I think he's going to be the best rookie quarterback out of this draft.
Top
So
10 on the season.
nah, I don't want to go that high. Maybe top 15.
Okay. All right. I didn't get to see like snap for snap of this game. Chris Boswell had just got done literally kicking the Falcons' ass, so I was still like in a state of shock from what just I just waited 6 months to then see transpire. So, but I did see Red Zone went to it, stuff like that. But what I've heard is that Jaden Daniels just runs immediately, like it doesn't seem like he's not at the processing stage yet, which is expected. Week one is to
Yeah.
be expected. So once he can go through and like stay calmer in the pocket, because I've always said this, I can't imagine how fast the NFL game looks to a rookie quarterback when he first starts.
There's one thing that he does not slide. They
That
even
was the
talked about
gripe.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were talking about that in the broadcast a lot. So he's gonna have to learn to do that because he is not a big guy. And
No, he gets,
he's
and
gonna
there's all kinds of clips of him getting hit and looking like the Sonic
yeah,
the Hedgehog with the rings going everywhere. Like he takes vicious
yeah.
hits, and those hits you can safely presume are only going to be more vicious in the NFL. So I mean, you're going to learn one way or the other, to
Yep.
protect yourself, or you're going to, be out of the league. So, on the Doberman side, I'm looking at this. Joe Burrow. When do we start? Like, I mean, he didn't have Chase was whatever. He didn't have Higgins. The game script went terribly for them. I mean, but when do we? There's videos now of him with the water bottle. He can't grab it all the way. It's like somebody said it's either the world's heaviest water bottle or something's a little bit shockingly wrong here. Um, what is 1 to 10 level of concern for Joe Burrow this season now? 10 being the
I'm gonna
highest
go.
level of concern.
Yeah, I figured that. I'm
Well, you
gonna
never know with you.
go. I'm gonna go 6. I'm a little concerned. Um, week one, you kind of chalk up to, Chase was out a lot during camp and all that, doing the holdout. So they really weren't on page, but you expected them, I mean, to be better than what they were in that week one matchup. I'm a little bit worried. And I mean, how many games did he miss last year? Do we know that?
I mean, you just throw me random stats
Sorry.
like that.
But
No,
anyways,
problem is, let me see if
I
I
am
have it.
con
I think he only played like five. Let me see. I'll have it in a second.
it
Um,
don't matter.
nope, the people deserve it. The problem is when I'm sharing the screen, I got to bring all my tabs over here.
Okay, I'll
That
do
is
it.
my
I got it
problem.
right here.
No, I got it. He played all but he
Oh,
played all but like six
I
games.
see. 7 games.
Yeah, 7 games. Was guesstimating.
So yeah, I'm definitely concerned. I when during my predictions, I did not pick the Bengals to make the playoffs, and after that week one, I'm glad I did that. So I would be definitely concerned if I am a Bengals fan.
You want me to go way too
Uh,
much, way too overboard in triple Brett fashion?
sure,
Do
obviously
you
people
think
love
there's a
that.
chance that we've already seen the highest combined season points of Burrow and Chase ever?
Oh,
It's possible.
yeah, I'm gonna say
I would
yes.
call it I would call it unlikely right now that that's true. I would call it unlikely, but I would not say that it is absurd like it would have been, 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, he's in year 4. I mean, Chase is what in year 3. So that's a very but Burrow's starting to wear on people with the injuries and stuff. If he can't throw the
Yeah,
football, I mean, at Chase with the no contract now, um, I mean, you're asking somebody to predict like the next, hopefully, like 7 or 8 years of their careers, but I mean, that's on the radar that it is possible. We've already seen the highest combined fantasy finish from the two of them. I just came up with that off the top of my head.
yeah. I want to talk about one other player on the Dobermans real quick.
Oh, bro,
And this
take
guy,
it away.
I'm, Brian Thomas Jr. He only had four
Yes.
catches, but when I watched him, he looked really, really good.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be outstanding for fantasy. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Um, Yeah, I mean to already be getting that rapport with Trevor like that and getting that trust. That throw is one of the most insane throws I've seen. We talked about it in the
Yes.
chat today or last night or yesterday. And I don't understand a quarterback that can do that. It's beyond my brain. Like if I was an NFL quarterback, like if I say I had the skills, right? Like the physical skills,
Right.
I would be a Ritter 100%. I'm like, wait, are you sure you're open? Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, I'm going to throw it to you now. I just stared at you for the last 30 seconds. It's going to be like that. I was no chance I have the ability to do those forward thinking throws and trust it like that. Just no chance. All right. Prediction for this game. We have the Zinful one is going with the Dobermans to get the win.
Um, I am going to still stick with myself. Last week I only got like 1 point out of Evan Ingram. I think he's gonna bounce back. I don't think Jameson's gonna have another huge game like he did last time, but he's gonna be a big focal point on that offense. So he's gonna be fine. I'm worried about Christian Watson, but
Yeah.
I'm still gonna take my team. I still believe because I'm bringing up Geno Smith. Go Mountaineers.
I'm gonna
So yeah.
ride with you here. I'm gonna ride with you again.
Oh,
It cost me last week. Um, I'm gonna go with you and go with the River Rats. All right, next, let's go. Where are they? We're go to Wake Forest, where the surprisingly 0-1 Wampus Cats take on the surprisingly 1-0 Lumberjacks. And let's look at this matchup here. Um, it's really simple to see the level of concern on the Wampus Cats. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the emergence of Jameson Williams. Was that a matchup thing? Or is his role going to be dialed back this year?
uh, I just have so many offensive weapons. So you just never know. I did read a little bit that the Rams played him a lot different than most teams did, and there I think the article was about will other teams copy that blueprint. So that's gonna be interesting to see. But I think St. Brown's still gonna be St. Brown. Um, but I honestly don't think he's gonna have a year like he had like last year. So I don't know if that was great analyst there or whatever, but
It's amazing. The level of analyst ability that people have come to respect and
that's
admire
why
from Detroit.
it's why everybody's favorite podcast is.
That's right, dude. Keep bringing the noise.
But
Um,
yeah, I'm not really
good.
worried. Or am
Okay.
I? I don't know.
Even better. I don't know. I mean, Amon Ra was so flying so close to the sun. Ha 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 ha. That that you would think he'd have to come back a little, but no,
Yeah.
obviously nothing drastic like that. Under 6 points last week, but I think
He
it's
still
going to
had
find
six
its level.
targets.
I think it's going to find its level, right? I think Jameson will come
Yeah.
down to earth a little bit, and Amon Ra will go up.
Yeah.
Um, stay here for more
But
hard hitting analysis, but
Even Laporta didn't have a good game last week. So
he did not.
they kind of struggled on offense.
Is the window
But I think
closed in Detroit? People are asking.
no, it is
The,
not. They'll be
the
fine.
window's shut. It's over. All right. All right. Look at this. Let's look at it from the Lumberjacks perspective here. Um, I have a theory that Jaden Reed will be the least affected by the quarterback change. It's not really some bold theory. It just seems like he was actually to Malik Willis for the Packers. It seems like he
Yeah.
was obviously wide receiver one on the week. I don't expect that high level of production week in and week out, but it seems like as opposed to the other two, three, I guess if you count Wicks as well, um, Jaden Reed was schemed the ball.
Yeah. And he plays the slot too. So they're going to try to do a lot of quick hitters.
Yeah.
I can see that because I don't think they want Willis back there just trying to look off this read and go to the next read. So I don't mean Jaden Reed. You know what I mean? His first option.
Right. Right.
So
Okay. Okay. All right. Prediction for this one. The Zenful one has went with the Wampus Cats to get back to 500. What say you?
yes, I'm going with the Wampus Cats. Also, I just what's the deal with A chain.
What's the deal with airplane? What?
Devon
A-Chan?
A chain.
Oh, you were
A
scared to
chain.
say it, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Uh,
Uh,
I don't know. It's just kind of like what the Miami backfield
uh,
does.
I guess we'll find. Guess we'll find out here in a few minutes.
That's right. Get ready to kick off.
Who's
You
going
would
to
think
play?
they would have
Play
told
who
us by
tonight?
now. It's Thursday morning. You think they would have
Yeah.
told us by now. I know he didn't
So
practice yesterday, so I mean it's going to be tough for him to go. I would think, but this is the key. I mean, this is what they're known for: explosiveness when they're there. But I
yeah.
mean, that is part of it. All right. So you are going. You're going Wampus
Yeah.
Cats.
With the, yes, sir.
All right. I am going to actually. I'm going to tell you on that and go Wampus Cats as well. All right. Because I'm thinking more for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like the matchup, and I think Mark Andrews is going to come out and get a little bit more back on track. All right. Next up, let's go to the Battle of Dumbarians as the Kings head to Nakati to take on the Zen Masters. Looking at the Kings, have an interesting one here. Running back 29 on the week, Travis Etienne. Essentially, there's a case to be made that he cost the Jaguars the game by fumbling. They could have gone up 3 scores. He fumbles going into the end zone. Instead of going up 3 scores, they're now only down, or they're only now only up one after the Dolphins, get a touchdown off that turnover. Last year, huge piece of the Kings team. You're talking, I think, running back 3 on the season, something like that, something ridiculous. Huge amount of explosive plays. But I have an interesting question. I've had this brought up. This is not my Tank Bisbee love showing Travis Etienne hate, I promise you. But rest of this season, Detroit, this was a question posed and it split the panel of what I watched. Rest of this specific season, would you rather have Travis Etienne or Alvin Kamara?
Oh gosh.
This season is, I can't say it enough because obviously long term Etienne, whatever, but
I'd probably go Camaro.
it's a lot of role in that
Just
offense. It's, he's the guy.
yeah, ETN is just I don't know. I was looking at his stats. He only averaged 3.8 yards a carry last year. So I would have to assume the Jags are not happy with that. So I do see Tank getting a lot more playing time. So yeah, I think I go Kamara on this one.
I got people who see me at home. If somebody watches this and watches my face when other people are talking, it's hilarious because I'll just be saying we're thinking like Detroit doesn't have a care in the world, it's not paying attention. He'll just pull some random stat that makes you think he's been in the lab, going over everybody's box scores, figuring up the totals. He just drops the ETN average yards per rush stat like it was nobody's business. Takes a sip of the big gulp and keeps on rolling.
No,
Absolutely tremendous.
Hardee's,
I mean,
which is gross.
that's
I
the
hate
big gulp
Hardee's.
of fast food. Yes, of course you do. So naturally you're eating it. All right, perfect. All right. On to the Zen Masters. Ah, this team. Brock Bowers, tight end 4. He looked impressive on his debut. I mean, he scores, what did he score? 11 or 12 points basically. Do we see Brock Bowers getting more or less love as at the rest of the season?
I'll be honest. I don't think I saw more than 2 plays of this game with them, the Chargers. So can't really, I can't tell you how he looked. I can just tell you that I think he will get more. I think that they're going to concentrate on him a lot because I don't think the Raiders have a lot of weapons as it is. Yes, I know they got Adams, but sorry, Roach. Sorry, Matt. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I think Bowers is going to be a focal point.
All right,
So
all
yeah.
right. I can see that now. The Zenful One has picked his Zen Masters to lose this game. He's given it to the Kings. You can see the projection. It's about a 50-point projection right now. What do you see going down in this game?
Yeah, I think the Kings will bounce back and then they will start to run their mouth as usual, let everyone know how great they are and how great of a general manager they are and how they made such great trades and great pickups. But yeah, they do have a really good team. I see them taking down the Zen Masters pretty easily.
All right, I am going to go with the Kings as well. It doesn't make sense for this team to be over 2. So let me get the Kings getting that victory. Next, our pre-main event. In a year that Marmet doesn't win the title and doesn't get the game of the week for the week 1, this would have been our game of the week for week 2. But we don't do repeats. We try to avoid repeats here in the KDFL for games of the week because people cherish being in the spotlight. People cherish having the game of
They
the week.
do.
That's
They
right.
do.
So this matchup here is the only matchup with 2 1-0 teams, by the way, for week 1 or for week 2.
Wow.
So pretty interesting. Um, it is the Marmet Midnight Riders traveling to Melbourne to take on the Melbourne Mega Powers. Looking at the Midnight Riders team, it really is for me. I am gonna look at. Let's look at Devontae Adams because we just talked about Brock Bowers. So let's keep the Raiders theme going. Devontae Adams a very disappointing 11 points. He's wide receiver 41 on the season. The quarterback situation is what it is. Maybe it was a tough matchup with the Chargers. You knew it was going to be a ground and pound game for both defenses. What do you think about Devontae Adams the rest of the season? Because, again, not to be long winded, the Midnight Riders are known for the 5 wide wide receivers that are all produced. They've scaled that back a little bit so far this year. What do we think about Devontae Adams?
I mean, I love him as a player. I just, unfortunately, I don't love their quarterback, and that makes a huge difference in fantasy, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think you're going to run into the situation where he's just going to be unhappy all year, and I think that's going to, cause friction throughout the season. So I'm not huge on Devontae Adams in fantasy this year. Now, maybe if he can force a trade and get out of there, yeah. But I don't trust the Raiders in general when you got Gardner Minshew as your quarterback. A guy like him is
Yeah.
going to he's going to check down to like Brock Bowers, which is why I like Bowers in the last segment because I just don't see him slinging it all over the place.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the Mega Power side to someone that did sling it all over the place. And I don't mean that as a compliment because this man literally slung the ball all over the place. Anthony Richardson, QB4 on the season after 27 points. If you watched this man play, it was a tale of 2 quarterbacks. It really was because some of the most majestic, that deep ball to AD Mitchell, or AD Mitchell was all over the place. It couldn't catch anything. Alec Pierce, I think, caught the deep ball, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, Alec Pierce caught the deep ball. But AD Mitchell could have had one of the best rookie debuts of all time if Anthony Richardson could have gotten anywhere near him. So that is a very concerning part of his story for me. Let me ask you this: rest of season, Anthony Richardson or Jaden Daniels?
That's tough.
It's tough because they are essentially both rookies. You're talking about 4-game difference. Well,
Yeah,
I don't like that.
because
I actually don't like that because Anthony Richardson has been in the locker
right,
room for a year. I mean,
I
it's
was gonna
not
say
apples to apples.
Daniels played all last season. It's not like he had a big gap. Um, man, I don't know. I think the Colts have a. Well, I mean, I don't think it's obvious. The Colts have a better offense. I would say.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I would go. I think I would lean Richardson, and I love Daniels. I think Daniels could
Yeah, I love
be
them both. I do.
better, but I think right now I think Richardson's in the better situation.
The worrisome part is, yeah, it's fine. You're inaccurate right now. Josh James. Um, Josh Allen was horribly inaccurate at first as well, but he fixed
Yeah.
that. The key is fixing it because you won't be in this league long if you're just an
Right.
athletic freak. So, all right. The Zenful One has picked with his Dunbar brethren. He has picked the Mega Powers to get the win here and start
Uh,
2-0. What say you, Detroit?
well, I kind of like the matchups better for the Midnight Riders. I think Mahomes is going to have a huge game against Cincinnati. Uh, I like Williams this week also against the Cards. I don't know. I think this one's going to be close, just like the projections. So I'm going to take the Midnight Riders in a close one.
Like it. I am going to pick my team until they lose and piss me off. So I'm going to go Mega Powers to get the win and start 2-0 and restore some pride in the City of Gardens, baby. They're waiting on it. They're craving it. They need it. It's coming your way. All right. Week 2, game of the week. It is the St. Albans Sinners. He is perennially second place, so naturally he gets the second game of the week of the season versus the 1-0 Roxalana Renegades. Let's look at the Sinners. Diggs was impressive with his debut. 10 wide receiver 10 on the week, 22 points. Is this more of what's expected, or is there so many mouths to feed in the Texans offense that he will fall back some? What do you think?
No, I think Diggs is going to be really good this year. He might be really good this year and then be a head case next year because that's just how it seems to go with that
Seems
guy.
like the MO. Okay.
Yeah. So I think Diggs is going to have a monster year. I think the Texans are going to be good as usual, or not as usual, but as they were last year. So yeah, I definitely think Diggs is one guy that's probably going to finish top 15 wide receiver.
All right. On the other side, I have no choice but to talk about this man. Two of us in the league ride and die for this man. Kyle Pitts, top 5 tight end so far this season. That's all you need to know about it. He is a tight end 5. Do you think this could be the Kyle Pitts we've wanted, or do you think he'll fall back into obscurity?
If we had a healthy Kirk Cousins, yeah, I think I could see it because
he's a tight end 5 where he had one leg with Kirk Cousins on one leg.
Yeah. No, I think Pitts will be better, but I don't think he's going to be the guy that we all thought he was going to be. Does that make sense?
It hurts. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'm sorry.
it's all I've heard. Look, Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open on one leg. Kirk Cousins can lead the Falcons on one leg. It's that simple. Built from the same cloth. And there's your clue number 3. All right. The Zinfo one has picked the Renegades to get this victory.
I'm gonna have to go with that, and I'm gonna say it comes down to quarterback too. You got Jared Goff and Tua going against Kirk Cousins and Minshew. I just like the Renegades a little bit better there, so I'm gonna go Renegades.
Oh man. Yep. We're staying with the Dunbar theme. Give me the Renegades. Start 2-0. Sinners to start 0-2, and then somehow get back in the mix before the season gets away from them. All right, that is it for the week 2 predictions. A quick look back at our picks for last season, or our picks for last week. I apologize. Matt went 3-3. Detroit went 4-2, and I went 4-2 as well. Now, as we're going to get into our locks and over-unders on the week, big week for the podcast last week. We went 5-1.
I was the only one that lost then on my over-under.
Yeah, right? So I'm going to let you get to that conclusion on your own. Looking at this week, Matt's picks, he has for his side Tampa Bay +7 versus Detroit. And then for the over-under, he has Pittsburgh and Denver going under 36.5. Detroit, our time has come to wrap up episode 2. What do you say for your side and your over-under pick?
Once again, I forgot to put this disclaimer on last week. I don't condone gambling. If you don't have the money, don't do it. This is just all for fun. However, I love the Chiefs this week against the Bengals -5. I think the Bengals are in deep trouble. And then I like the Ravens and Raiders over under 41.5. And no offense to all the Raider fans that we have listening on this podcast, because we do have a huge Raiders fan base. I think the Ravens might put up 40 points on their own this week. So give me the over. And everybody, I probably won't be here next week, so I'm going to say this twice. Brett sucks. Brett sucks.
Absolutely tremendous. All right. Y'all know my strategy this year. It worked out for me week 1. I'm going to keep it rolling this week. I look at the lines. I don't understand how the Panthers can only be 6-point dogs to anyone. The Chargers coming off a big win. Naturally, everybody would want to ride with them. So give me the Panthers, get the 6 points, and then everybody's going to love this Bengals KC matchup. So everybody's going to want a lot of points from it. So I'm going to take the under at 47.5. All right, and that's it. And we have it's still a long pod. It's 55 minutes right now. So we're just going to wrap it up. I'm going to keep trying to do better. The goal is 30 to 45. I mean, I feel like almost as good as I could do right there. Good Lord. All right. So for the Zinful Matt Smith, for Jonathan Detroit Haynes, I'm Brett Steele, and we will see you next week right here on the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast.